going on in my head and the vision.
All right, we are back with another episode of the Always Elevating show. And this is the career series that I am doing. Again, I am your host, YayaE, and I have with me today Renee Brown, awesome lady who is really out here representing Black women in a major way. And really, she's a person who I met in a social media space as a woman to know, and as a woman who's really trying to support other women, and especially women of color. And y'all know that is the type of people that I like to connect with, and those are the types of women that I love to elevate. And we're going to get started with the show today with her story. So who are you? Who is Renee?
Well, firstly, I'm a Trinidadian born and bred woman. That's where all of my family is. I've been in the States for the past 13, 14 years. And aside from that culture, I'd say, I'm a person who's really passionate about education, wellness, risk management. I love connecting people, connecting with people, and enjoying those moments where I get the opportunity to do so among loved ones, but also, new acquaintances.
Love it. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Sure. So about 3 months ago, a little over 3 months, I joined a new company. It's by the name of Gusto. It's a payroll platform geared towards small businesses. So at that company, I am heading a team within our risk department, which essentially manages the risk analytics for the business. So it's a tech startup. So there are a lot of things that are not built or not in existence at the moment. So I'm there really to charge the way and to help build off a foundation for the company as it progresses to build its clientele and also its footprint in the US and potentially the world.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I recently read an article about Gusto being a company to know. I think I actually saw it on TikTok. Yeah, so Gusto seems to be doing amazing things, and company that people in the investment community are watching. So pretty cool. So how did we meet? And why are we chatting today? I'll let you tell how we met. Yeah.
Okay. So Ayana and I are both members of the Girl Boss Facebook group. And typically on Fridays, Girl Boss encourages its community to help their fellow members get to their career or industry of their dreams. And one day I just decided to post that my company is hiring, and Ayana, followed up based on that post. And then through our first interaction, I learned about Always Elevating and thought it was a great initiative to support. And now we're here.
Thank you so much for being here. And we're chatting today, obviously, because I think she is a girl boss, and I like the way that she presented herself and the way that our conversation went, our multiple conversations went. And obviously, when somebody wants to be a part of something that another woman, an aspiring woman, is doing, I think that it's just all the more important for us to make it happen and support each other along the way. So we're going to move into the next set of questions so y'all can get this knowledge from this amazing lady. So tell the ladies what your career and path is and how that's sort of been. Like, what's that personal journey been like?
Sure. So growing up in Trinidad, I've always been a math geek, nerd, whichever is your word of preference. I really love math. And so years ago, I met someone who was an actuary, and I was like, oh, what's that? Essentially, an actuary is someone who assesses risk. Typically, they're the ones who work with insurance companies and help people to determine the premiums for, like maybe you if you drive a car, or something like that. And I thought, ooh, that would be really interesting, a way to bridge the gap between my passion for math and helping others. And so I initially wanted to go to college. I went to Howard University for my undergrad to study to become an actuary. And I didn't actually, my major wasn't actuarial science. It was actually insurance, which a lot of people look at me like, oh my God, that's weird. Howard University, honestly, was the only university that had insurance as a major. Risk management is typically, risk management, it's no longer, unfortunately, but risk management is usually what you would typically hear as, and to become an actuary, there are a series of exams that you have to pass. And then I realized that, I said to myself, Renee, you love math, but you really don't love statistics that much. And statistics is what, is what actuarial science is really based upon. And so it was really, I had to sit with myself and, figure out exactly why I was pushing myself in that direction. And if it really was for me. So I ended up really, in a sense, falling into risk management, which happened to be a subset of what I originally studied in college. So it was a subset of my insurance major. And so I've been a risk manager for over a decade now. And on top of that, an educator. So I teach SAT math prep from time to time. And then I also tutor math and business subjects up to grad school level.
Well, sister girl is super fly. Every time I see her in her glasses, I fall in love. And this platinum blonde shortcut, like it's just so fly.
Thank you.
She is also a fashionista.
I appreciate it so much.
So tell us what keeps you and what has also kept you going, like, and what keeps you empowered. I think that a big part of you doing all the things that you do, which is a lot, and you do a lot and you do a lot well, and you continue this path of figuring out what you want to do and then landing it, and obviously you're looking for something next to do at some point in life, but you're empowering yourself throughout this process, and something is also contributing to what's empowering you. So what is that thing, or what are those things?
I really think that I've been a go-getter since God knows when. The push from my parents, what at times I would admit was a bit too much, but I'm thankful for that. And then at the same time, the tribe that I've developed over the years that really have been able to see my worth, my talents, even at times when I haven't seen them myself, and really push me in the direction to become, my truest self.
And having advocates in your circle are just so valuable, just as much as having that either social circle, friend circle, parent, or someone, who's more than just a network or connection, but someone who sees your worth, watches your growth, watches your potential, and pushes you toward your potential and your next level. So love that.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, I've definitely tapped into some of my talents that I kind of just laid dormant. And, I have friends right now that are like, finally, we get to see this again. Finally, you're doing this. So yeah, I definitely agree with you, Ayana. That is really great and important to have those people in your corner that will push you and call you out, because that's the only way that we can really grow.
Totally. What should ladies and girls interested in your career path in risk management, or in maybe even startup world, or in the education field, if they're aspiring to become a professor, what are some things that you can share about what you acquired, what skills you acquired, and what they should consider acquiring?
First, that they need to have some level of passion around that intended career. I believe what matters the most is curiosity. I think it's the foundation and stepping stone to everything.
What would you say were some of your skills, just maybe one or two that you feel strongly about that helped you get to your level of success today?
Yeah, sure. I'm very analytical and detail oriented, without a doubt. I would look at something and automatically pick out an error or question, what does this number mean? What story is it telling me? What story am I trying to get from it? For me to understand how to, better do my job or the task ahead. I guess my other top skill would just be communication.
I love that you touched on that first one of being very detail oriented. I think that is such a highly needed skill. And, someone who doesn't skip over the small stuff, someone who's able to find the story, find the narrative, find the gap, find the detail that's missing, is someone who will be very valuable. So ladies, as you're hearing this, start to put this into practice. If you're in high school and preparing for college, and you're looking to submit college applications, or you are applying for scholarships or internships, really dig into the weeds of the company, the job description, what they're looking for, and pick out what is something that seems to be missing amongst this job, this industry, this team, if you have insight into the team at all, and find in your messaging, in whatever you're going to communicate in writing, how you can fill that need and fill that gap. That automatically shows that you have some detail orientation to yourself. And then translate that into, once you're in the role, put that into perspective where you can continue to do that with more things, like in your daily projects in school or in your internship.
Yeah, and one thing I would also add, Ayana, is, being detail oriented is great, but also don't forget about the bigger picture. So, it's sometimes hard, even for myself, to find that balance between being too detailed and looking at every nitpicky thing versus oh, what am I really trying to solve? So just, a reminder for everyone to keep that in mind, in your back pocket.
Yeah. What challenges did you feel you experienced during your path?
Micromanagement is something that a lot of people try to avoid, but sometimes in a sense it's unavoidable, or they may not even realize that they are actually micromanaging. And so I've experienced a lot of that in my career, and that can be very stifling, especially when I like to work more independently in a sense. So, I think that was like the biggest challenge for me. Just walking the fine line between, feeling valued, and the encounters with management and culture at the companies I've been.
And what would you say are next levels to the contrast that have derived from all of the skills you've acquired, the challenges that you've pressed through, and, just your own empowerment? What would you say became next levels for you? Is it anything that was monumental that kind of shook up the moment and said, this is my next level, this is something that was pivotal in helping me reach that next level, that you want to share?
I guess the thing it's popping up in my mind in terms of like, what changed that journey. I quit my last job and I received a lot of backlash from my family. Why would you quit when you don't have something lined up? And, I was just like, I'm taking a leap of faith. Like I need to leave. I realized like, I was applying to places, getting rejected quite frequently. And then I realized at some point that I was in my own way. And that for me, I needed to leave where I was for the opportunities to flow in. And as soon as I gave in my resignation notice, like, before like the actual full 2 weeks, last 2 weeks were done, they all started flowing in. So, the gut feeling was right. And so, that's another tidbit, ladies and girls, is just like, follow your gut. We're very like intuitive driven beings. And so, it's definitely something that does not tell us wrong at any point. But I know a lot of us, and I'm guilty of it at the same time too, of like doubting that gut feeling. You're like, no, like, nah, that can't be. Yeah. And then like you decide you're going to do something else. And then lo and behold, something like, is in your face and you're like, dang, like, I saw that might have happened, but I didn't really think it would have been that bad, So, just following your gut is definitely, some advice there. And that was for me, after, just all that backlash with my family. I was like, you know what, I'm doing this for me at the end of the day. So I pulled the plug. And I think that was the biggest step and pivot for me.
So what's next for you?
In terms of what's next, I would say I'm just like simply flowing, listening, observing, and really giving myself the grace to fail. Especially since I don't really know much in this industry, even though like technically I'm still doing risk management, but it's still evolving differently, but giving myself the grace to fail so that I can pick myself back up and continue working on becoming, who I'm supposed to be, or who I was and I'm rediscovering, I should say.
Love it. Yep. Because it's always inside of us, we were born with it. But yeah, that's so crazy that you say that, because that's something that I've been saying recently, like living comfortably uncomfortable. And yeah, I love that you pointed that out. So how can people learn more either about what you do, or how can they, do business with you or Gusto, or how can they connect with you? Everybody always in my community, the goal here is to make sure that ladies and girls have a resource where they did not have that before. And we want to make sure that we are sharing as many details as we can so that you can gain knowledge where there's a big knowledge gap for you wherever you are in the world. Maybe you don't get this kind of information or this type of empowerment from your community or your household, and you're seeking someone outside to pour into you. That's what this is all about. We give more than high level, this is a career path. This is something that you may not have even learned about in school,
The best way is through LinkedIn, Renee Brown, find me on there. I don't really do social media like that. I'm on there, but I am not on there at the same time. It's widely distracting, so I do my best to not be on there. So I think in terms of like business wise or any questions that you may have, find me, Renee Brown, on LinkedIn. Always on there for sure. So definitely would respond quickly to anyone, and we can chat from there.
Awesome. We will leave you with that. And thank you, Renee, for joining the show and
thank you for
blessing the community here. I know everything is very valuable. Come back for more on the Always Elevating show, and we will have another guest coming soon next month in February, the month of love. So stay tuned.
And the pictures are very clear, yet I know it'll take some time.